Hello everyone, I'm back with a new topic after a gap. Here we will be discussing on force and its application. Without delay, let's dive into the topic. Force is an everyday experience. Let us understand force. Force is a pull or push experienced by or exerted on an object. Examples in everyday life include opening a drawer, kicking a ball, pushing a table, pulling a chair, walking on the floor, fishes swimming, birds flying, and the likes. In simple words, interaction between two surfaces causes force to come into play. Force has a magnitude, that is, a value, and a direction of action. Forces that act in the same direction add to each other, such as two people pushing a car, whereas forces which are exerted in the opposite direction has a net force acting, which is the differences of values of forces acting against each other. The SI unit of force is Newton, being denoted by capital N, and the CGS unit is dyne. Force can have multiple effects or impacts on the body it is acting upon. Like, force can change the shape of the object, that is, a pot being created by a potter from a lump of clay by the application of force. Force can change the size of an object, like a wet cloth or garment being wringed to shed off the extra water. Here the shape and size both changes with the application of force. Force can change the state of motion of an object, such as kicking a football or stopping it. Force can increase or decrease the magnitude of speed. For example, with the slightest push, a swing can be made to move faster and vice versa. Force can change the direction of motion of object. Example, the badminton shuttle, when hit with the racket, the direction of motion and also the speed of the shuttle is altered with the application of force with the racket towards the other player. Broadly, there are two types of forces, that is, contact and non-contact force. Contact force is meant by the force that comes into play when one object is in contact with the other object, while non-contact force is the force that is exerted when there is no point of contact between two bodies. So far, we discussed on contact forces. Examples of non-contact forces are magnetic force, electrostatic force, and gravitational force. Coming to contact force, it can be further subdivided to frictional force and muscular force. We will be discussing these forces in detail now. Starting with electrostatic force, it is the force exerted by the charged body on another charged or uncharged body. Charge is that property of matter that gives rise to electricity and are of two types, positive charge and negative charge. It is interesting to note that two like charges repel each other and two unlike charges attract. Charge can build up due to friction as well as apart from charging by conduction and induction, which we will discuss in the next presentation. For example, when a comb is dropped in dry hair, it accumulates charge and can attract bits of paper or thin stream of water. Here we will discuss on gravitational force, which is the force existing between two bodies by the virtue of their mass or simply the pull exerted by one object on the other. Gravitational force was discovered by Sir Isaac Newton when an apple fell on his head from a tree while he was sitting under it. Every object in the universe experiences a gravitational pull with each other. Weight is the gravitational force acting on the body with mass m by the earth with a magnitude mg. Another type of non-contact force is magnetic force, which is the force offered by a magnet on another magnet or magnetic material. This is caused due to the presence of magnetic field around the poles. Magnetic field is the area that forms around the magnet, and this is where the magnetic force exists. Magnetic poles are on either end of the magnet, called as the North Pole and the South Pole, where the magnetic force is the maximum. Similar to electrostatic force, two like magnetic poles repel while two unlike magnetic poles attract. Materials which get attracted by the magnet, like nickel, iron, cobalt, etc., are called magnetic materials. Magnetism is a term used to indicate a property of magnetic materials or magnet to attract or repel each other. Let's now discuss on some contact forces. We came across many of these contact forces in our daily life. Friction is one such force. Friction is responsible for the change of state of an object. This change results due to the interaction of two surfaces in physical contact. Frictional force always acts opposite to the direction of the motion of object. Since force of friction is a result of two interacting surfaces, it is dependent on the texture of the surface and also on the weight of the body on which it acts. More rough the surface, more is the frictional force. Similarly, smoother the surface, lesser is the friction. Friction force is of four types, namely static friction, rolling friction, sliding friction, and fluid friction. Of all these, rolling friction has the minimum magnitude. Walking, running, swimming, birds flying, etc. are some of examples where we encounter frictional force daily. In this slide, we take a look at muscular force. As the name says, this force acts only when some force due to the muscular force is applied on the body. The muscles exert force when the body parts are moving. Examples of such force include pushing a rock, carrying a box, blood being pumped into the artery by the heart muscles, and the likes. The information presented in these slides are collected from the sources which are primarily academic or from government organizations. I hope I could provide an overview on force and its types. An elaborate discussion on the types of force will be done in my upcoming videos. From the core of my heart, I thank you all for being with me and your patience. To watch more videos, please check the description box and also the cards appearing on the top right corner of this video. Stay tuned for more videos coming up shortly.